so I had to wait for him to get on my bed and calm down before I could make the video because I didn't want him interrupting. So hopefully he won't randomly run into the camera over my laptop or anything like that. So fingers crossed that this will be okay. But yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and, like I said, I've got some conservation effects for you, and I hope some of you take it in and can learn something from it, and hopefully have a bit more of a friendly footprint on the planet by it. Okay, I'm just going to be reading, so I'm not going to be looking at the camera as such. I'm just reading from the screen. We've all heard about global warming and climate change, but these only scratch the surface of what we need to know about conservation and saving the environment. So much more needs to be done. The good news is that you can do many things to save the planet in your own small way. Here we've listed conservation facts as well as a number of tips for how to save water, recycle better, avoid pollution, and cut back on your carbon footprint, as the late Michael Jackson said, heal the world. I haven't read this already, I'm reading it fresh to you, so it's as it is. Okay, water. Water is our most precious, essential resource. It is in some way involved with virtually everything we do, and is used in the making of pretty much every product we use or buy. There are ways to save water. Use common sense and these water conservation facts and reduce your unnecessary use of water. If we divided it up evenly, each person could use 2.5 gallons of water each day. The average American uses 70 gallons of water a day. A faucet that drips 15 times a minute wastes 3 gallons of water a day. Every 5 minutes of showering. Every 5 minutes of showering takes 10 to 25 gallons of water. Turn off your shower while soaping and shampooing to conserve water. Of all the water on Earth, only 3% of it is drinkable. 2/3 of that is frozen in the glaciers or ice caps. Toilets account for 20% of all water we use. If it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. If you leave the water on while brushing your teeth, you're wasting 5 gallons of water. I do that. I hate to admit that, I really do. I'm not practicing what I'm preaching. But yeah, I'm just slowly learning to turn the water off when I brush my teeth. But it's difficult. Once you get into a habit, it's quite hard. Oh, Blakey's just come to watch me, he's sitting next to me. Nearly twice as much water is used by washing dishes manually than is used by putting it in the dishwasher. Really? But the amount of... it takes 4 gallons of water to make 1 gallon of milk. If you have a choice between milk and water, choose water. I don't like water, but I do like milk. But my boyfriend is the complete other way around. He hates milk, but he loves water, so we cancel each other out. It takes a gallon of water to make a 2-litre bottle of Coke. Drink water instead, it's better for you anyway. Well, I don't drink Coke, so that's okay. Okay, the next section is recycling. A relatively simple way to help save the world is to recycle. It doesn't take much extra effort, but if you need a little extra push to do so, to realise how much of a difference you'll be making, here are some conservation facts for recycling. Recycling 1 soda can saves enough energy to watch 3 hours of TV. Well, I don't watch TV, and I don't really drink soda, so that's okay. Americans throw away enough aluminium each month to rebuild every commercial aeroplane in the US. Glass never becomes unrecyclable, neither does aluminium. If recycled their paper for one single day, just one day, it would save 75,000 trees. That's insane. That's just absolutely insane. And that angers me. The United States produces 40% of the world's trash each year. The amount of energy saved in 2007 through recycling is the equivalent of 10.7 billion gallons of gas. Wow. In the past 30 years, the percentage of waste disposed in landfills has been cut nearly in half. That's good. That sounds good. Yeah, must be good. Recycling steel saves 75% of the usual energy production for steel, and 80% of items in landfills are recyclable. People obviously aren't dividing up their recyclable rubbish with their normal rubbish properly, which they should. Naughty, naughty. I'll wag my finger at you. Okay, the next section is pollution. Pollution is a silent killer all across the world. It has related in tens of thousands of lung cancer deaths and other various maladies each year. Though sometimes pollution comes down to be a simple mistake, a lot of the time it arises from carelessness or ignorance. Here are some quick conservation facts for doing your part to protect the environment. A single gallon of motor oil can ruin 1 million gallons of water. There is a floating patch of garbage twice the size of Texas floating through the Pacific Ocean. Yeah. 40% of America's rivers are too polluted for safe swimming. Pretty much all of China's rivers are. Washing a car at home can do some serious damage to your environment. The soap seeps into the ground and can mess up the chemical balance in the ecosystem. It might be more expensive to wash your car at a car wash, but the water is put into a sewer where it can then be treated at a treatment plant. No, it doesn't. There's a car wash round my corner, and there's always like wet patches on the floor from the soapy water. 49% of Sacramento's air pollution is from private homes burning wood in their fireplaces. I don't know about anyone else watching, it's anybody else that does these videos, but I find if I'm whispering, my voice can really hurt. My throat right now is killing me. I feel like I've really strained it, because if I sit slightly with my neck crooked like this, it's a lot more effort to whisper than it is if I do that. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I am. Sorry. He's sleepy. I have to show you. Sleepy baby. He's too cute for boots. Okay, sorry. Okay, the next section is carbon emissions. There are many different ways to cut back your carbon emission and reduce your carbon footprint. Here are some quick conservation facts on how to ease up on your carbon emissions. There are carbon emissions for all the food you eat to be shipped to you. In New York, it is better for the environment to drink wine from France than from the Napa Valley. A good way to temporarily offset carbon emissions is to plant trees. Trees absorb carbon dioxide, but when they die, they decay and re-release the carbon into the atmosphere. However, if you get a long-living tree and take care of it, this won't happen for a long time. 10% of the world's population account for 50% of its carbon emissions. If you're stuck in standstill traffic, you can turn off your car. The amount of gas used in starting the car is the same amount used in sitting idle for 5 to 7 seconds. section because I didn't realise that was so short. This is about interesting environmental facts. I don't know what it is, but we'll give it a go. Sorry, I'm yawning. It's midnight. And I actually got up, for me, early today. I got up at just before 10, which is early for me. I don't normally get up early, but I had to today, so I did. Okay. An important quote by René Dubos. The phrase "conquest of nature" is certainly one of the most objectionable and misleading expressions of Western languages. It reflects the illusion that all natural forces can be entirely controlled, and it expresses the criminal conceit that nature is to be considered primarily as a source of raw materials and energy for human purposes. Think about it. If just 25% of US families use 10 fewer plastic bags a month, we would save over 2.5 billion bags a year. I do try and recycle plastic bags as much as I can. I don't like using a new bag if I go shopping, to a supermarket or anywhere. Like, if I forget a bag to take and I have to use one of them, I get angry. Not angry, but I just think, oh shoot, I could have bought my own bag. And if I go shopping to buy numerous bits from different shops, I'll just get one big bag from one shop and then just fill everything into that bag. There's no point in getting one bag per shop. There's really no point in that at all. It angers me when you see people with like 5 bags, and it's just like there's so much spare room in every single bag. Why don't you just shove it all in one bag? It's ridiculous. Because they want to have their label and designers and stuff. It's just pathetic. Anyway, on the average, the 140 million cars in America are estimated to travel almost 4 billion miles in a day. And according to the Department of Transportation, they use over 200 million gallons of gasoline doing it. Jesus Christ. Get comfy. I'm sitting on the floor, so it's not very comfortable. Every year we throw away 24 million tons of leaves and grass. Leaves alone account for 75% of our solid waste in the fall. Over 100 pesticide ingredients are suspected to cause birth defects, cancer, and gene mutations. Every ton of recycled office paper saves 380 gallons of oil. About 1% of US landfill space is full of disposable diapers, which takes 500 years to decompose. Wow. Energy saved from one recycled aluminium can will operate a TV set for 3 hours, and is the equivalent of half a can of gasoline. Glass produced from recycled glass instead of raw materials reduces related air pollution by 20% and water pollution by 50%. Americans use 50 million tons of paper annually, consuming more than 850 million trees. Jesus. Homeowners use up to 10 times more toxic chemicals per acre than farmers. I can believe that. By turning down your central heating thermostat 1 degree, fuel consumption is cut by as much as 10%. Insulating your attic reduces the amount of energy loss in most houses by up to 20%. Enough glass was thrown away in 1990 to fill the Twin Towers, which are 1,350 feet high, of New York's World Trade Center every 2 weeks. 1 ton of carbon dioxide that is released in the air can be prevented by replacing every 75 watt light bulbs with energy efficient light bulbs. Many banks loan large sums of money to developing nations. In order to pay those debts plus interest, many nations have turned to the mining of their natural resource as a source of financial aid. Every day, 40,000 children die from preventable diseases. The public transportation that we have is wreck. The US continues to promote and invest in private car travel rather than public transportation. The human population of the world is expected to be nearly tripled by the year 2100. So where are we now? 7 billion, so that will be 21 billion people in 2100. There's not enough space for everybody. Where are we all going to go? Well, we'll be dead by then, but actually, I might be 112 by then. It's possible. Young at heart and all that. A 3% annual growth rate will result in the doubling of consumption and production of food and other products in 25 short years. The amount of motor vehicles that are expected to be operated will increase 15 million a year until at least 2010. Oh, so this is old, these facts. I don't know how old, never mind. The world's per capita grain production has been on the downfall since 1985, despite the use of fertilizers and pesticides. Already, a train system has been developed back in 1987, which is based on magnetic levitation and causes minimal pollution. These versions of a train are already in use in several countries. I believe they're in use in Japan and China. Fibre optics made of glass are being used to replace copper cables throughout the world. The uncontrolled fishing that is allowed has reduced the amount of commercial species, some species up to 1/10 of their original population. And every day, 50 to 100 species of plants and animals become extinct as their habitat and human influences destroy them. See, that's what I hate. I hate that we are destroying natural habitats for animals that have lived here and have got more right to be here than we have. I mean, I know we're animals, but I just don't agree with destroying animals' habitats for our own gain. It's just wrong. We've got more than enough that we need already. Why do we still keep destroying things? We'll have nothing left. We'll be, in the end, we're going to be destroying the very thing that we rely on to survive. And for the time being, we're too stupid to see it because it's money, it's industrialisation, it's brilliant. But what happens when everything runs out? Then we're fucked and we die. And it's all our fault. Okay, these are facts about the Earth. Deserts are advancing and taking over the land. In Mali, the desert has taken over about 220 miles in as few as 20 years. Deserts can be repelled by developing tree planting objects, having better agriculture, and by managing the land better. However, governments are still reluctant to fund anti-desertification, despite horrific droughts that have occurred in recent years. The Earth has been around for 4.6 billion years. Scaling this time down to 46 years, we have been around for 4 hours, and our industrial revolution began just 1 minute ago. During this short time period, we have ransacked the planet for ways to get fuels and raw materials, have been the cause of extinction of an unthinkable amount of plants and animals, and have multiplied our population to that of a plague. Despite all of the damage we have caused the environment, most of it is reversible. We can restore habitats and return them to species to them, clean rivers, renovate buildings, replenish the topsoil, replant forests. However, these activities do not relieve the worst symptoms of the damage. We still have to fix the source of the problems, us and our vision. We must progress. Okay, and these are facts about the rainforest. Feminax if I have menstrual pains, period pains, about once a month. Apart from that, I try and avoid taking any tablets. I don't take vitamin tablets. I don't take any other kind of tablet. And I don't think you need to either. If you take paracetamol every day, your body's becoming reliant on it, and it's not natural. You need to stop. Large areas of South and Central America are cleared and burned for cattle ranching. This is so that farmers can provide cheap beef to consumers in the West. Every year, approximately 4 billion tons of carbon accumulates in the air. About 30% of this comes directly from the continued burning of the rainforests. More than anything else, the rainforest is destroyed by peasant farmers. However, the responsibility for this lies largely with the governments who fail to promote land reform and sustainable agricultural practices as an alternative to forest clearance. And more than a quarter of our rainforest is in Brazil. Okay, just the last few facts. Penguins live only in the southern hemisphere and never in the northern hemisphere. A single porcupine is known to kill 100 trees in one winter. It uses its sharp claws to climb a tree, sits on a limb to gnaw away at the bark, and twigs, and then stuffs them all into its mouth at once. Because of its liking for bark, the porcupine causes much damage to forests. A scallop moves by sucking water into its shell and then squirting it out suddenly. It likes to wander around, and this gives it enough force to push it in front of its zigzag manner. A male Garibaldi damselfish attracts females for mating by covering a rock with a thick layer of algae. A male which clean off a rock to only allow algae to live have a higher chance of mating. The algae is also used to protect the eggs of the fish. To prevent the nest from getting soaked, the rare white-chinned swift, which nests behind the waterfalls of Latin America, plant pieces of moss in the nest which then grow and reinforce the nest. A porcupine loves salt so much that it would walk into a camp and gnaw on anything that has been touched by salt or even by perspiring hands. Despite having a shell of armour for the body, an armadillo has teeth that do not have enamel and thus have very soft teeth. It can only eat soft foods such as ants, termites, grubs and bugs. The tip of an elephant's trunk is so sensitive and flexible that it can pick up a pin. If a mole does not find food within 12 hours, it will die. Its chief food consists of insects and earthworms. A male nightingale stops singing when its eggs have hatched so as not to attract unnecessary attention to the nest. However, he gives short calls to tell the female that all is well or danger is approaching. Bolas spiders snare moths by producing chemicals similar to pheromones used by several species of female moths to attract mates. Species, not pieces. The webbed feet of the stormy petrel enable it to walk on water. It spends almost its entire life over the ocean and only comes to land to breed. so there you go, lots of facts for you to think about. This video is quite long, so now I'm going to try and see if